The first thing I saw that morning wasn't the sunrise over my fields or the mist lifting off the wheat. It was a bright orange steel gate slammed across the only road to my farm, chained tight like a slap in the face. A hand-painted sign swung from it, letters dripping with arrogance, "Road closed by order of the HOA. Trespassers will be fined." My stomach dropped. That road wasn't just gravel and dirt. It was my lifeline. And Karen knew it. I'd owned this farm long before the HOA ever dreamed of building its manicured little subdivision on the hill nearby. My family had worked this land for 3 generations. My grandfather broke the soil with his bare hands. My father buried his boots here when he died. I raised crops, kept livestock, and supplied half the county with produce. That road existed on every deed, every map, every county record since the 1940s. But Karen, self-appointed HOA president, queen of clipboard tyranny, decided she could erase it with a chain and a smile. By noon, my phone was blowing up. My hired hands couldn't get in. The feed truck was stuck half a mile away. A veterinarian turned around because he didn't want trouble. Karen stood near the gate in her oversized sunglasses, arms folded, enjoying the chaos like it was a backyard barbecue. When I confronted her, she didn't even flinch. "This road runs through HOA land now," she said sweetly. "Residents voted to close it for safety and aesthetics. Farm traffic is noisy, unsightly. You'll have to find another way." "There is no other way," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You can't legally do this." She smiled wider. "Sue us." That's when I realized this wasn't about noise or looks. This was about control. For months, Karen had been trying to pressure me into selling. The HOA wanted my land for future development. I'd refused every offer. Too low, too greedy, too disrespectful to my family's history. Closing the road was her way of strangling me until I gave in. The first week was brutal. Milk spoiled because tankers couldn't reach me. Crops went unharvested. Animals grew restless. Every day the gate stayed closed, Karen sent fines in the mail, imaginary violations for attempted access, and verbal harassment. The sheriff came once, shrugged, and said it looked like a civil matter. The county office moved slow, buried in paperwork. Karen knew exactly how to play the system. At night, I sat alone in the farmhouse, listening to the wind and feeling the weight of generations pressing on my chest. Selling crossed my mind. Just once. Then I'd look at my father's old photographs on the wall and feel something harden inside me. Karen thought she'd trapped me. She didn't know what lay beneath her precious HOA land. My grandfather had told me stories when I was a kid, about an old storm shelter dug during the war, about hand-cut passages used to move livestock during floods. I'd always assumed they'd collapsed decades ago. But one evening, while clearing out an old storage shed, I found a rusted iron hatch buried under hay bales. When I pried it open, a breath of cool, damp air rushed out like a secret exhale. The tunnel was still there. It wasn't pretty. Dirt walls reinforced with old timber. Low ceilings. But it ran straight under the ridge, under what was now HOA property. My pulse hammered as I followed it with a flashlight. This wasn't just an escape route. This was proof. Proof that my family had used this land long before Karen's subdivision ever existed. I didn't tell anyone. Not my workers. Not my lawyer. I spent nights reinforcing the tunnel, clearing collapses, measuring distances. Then I noticed something strange. Fresh footprints. Not mine. New wiring stapled along one side. Pipes. Electrical conduit. The deeper I went, the more modern it became. The tunnel opened into a hidden chamber beneath the HOA's community park. And what I saw there made my hands shake. Illegal hookups. Power taps feeding somewhere else. Files in waterproof boxes. Laptops. Ledgers. This wasn't some innocent utility shortcut. This was a full-blown underground operation. HOA funds being rerouted. Kickbacks logged in neat columns. Payments to shell companies. And Karen's name, over and over, signed at the bottom of approvals. Suddenly, the road closure made perfect sense. The HOA didn't just want my land. They wanted to bury this secret forever. My refusal to sell had made me a liability. I documented everything. Photos, videos, serial numbers. I installed cameras in the tunnel, watching as HOA board members crept down at night, thinking no one could see them. I let the road stay closed. Let Karen grow bolder. She even sent me a final notice. Sell within 30 days or face permanent access termination. On day 29, I made my move. I invited the county inspector, the sheriff, and a state auditor to my farm under the guise of an access dispute resolution. Karen showed up too, confident and smug, heels clicking on gravel. She launched into her rehearsed speech about bylaws and community rights. I interrupted her. Before we talk about the road, I said, I want to show you something that's been under your feet. I led them to the old hatch. Karen's face drained of color the moment she saw it. She tried to laugh it off, but her voice cracked. When the officials descended into the tunnel and reached the chamber, the air turned electric. Questions flew. Radios crackled. Karen started shouting about trespassing in private property, but no one was listening anymore. The evidence was overwhelming. Fraud, embezzlement, illegal construction. The sheriff cuffed 2 board members on the spot. Karen screamed that this was a setup, that I was lying, that none of it mattered. It matters, the auditor said coldly. And so does the road. By sunset, the gate was gone. Chains cut, signs torn down. Karen was sitting in the back of a patrol car, mascara streaked, still insisting she was the victim. The HOA's accounts were frozen. The subdivision buzzed with sirens and whispers. The next morning, the feed truck rolled in like nothing had ever happened. My workers laughed. The fields breathed again. I stood at the edge of the road, dust on my boots, feeling something close to peace. Karen thought she could erase history with a padlock. She thought power only ran one way, on the surface, in board meetings and fines. She never imagined that beneath her perfect lawns and fake authority ran the truth, waiting patiently. And sometimes, when the only road forward is blocked, the smartest revenge isn't to push harder. It's to dig deeper.